Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, sir. So this is Karan here, and this is my team. We have Namrita, we have Madhuri, and we have Jonathan. We are all from Zyme Bangalore, and this is entrepreneurial talk, wherein we have to talk to an entrepreneur and understand their journey, how what makes an entrepreneur, what is the journey, and how we as budding entrepreneurs can learn and imbibe certain values and traits. So I'll give you a brief introduction about you. So basically, he is a BS and MS in geophysics from IIT Kharagpur and UBC, and currently he's an IIT Kharagpur alum. He went on a tour of 100 days, which gave rise to what we today know as learning while traveling. He is a global startup consultant, and he recently started LWT Junior, which is India's first online school. And sir, it is a pleasure to have you here and having spent some of your crucial time with us. So,
Thank you.
so with that, we'll start off the talk
Yeah.
without further ado. So, the first question, like, what inspired you to start learning while traveling? If you could tell us something about it.
Yes. So I lived abroad for almost 11 years. So 2006, I went to abroad, Canada, and then I was in Singapore, I was in Indonesia, and then I traveled a lot for various conferences. And like you mentioned, I also did a world tour kind of thing for 100 days. So actually, this traveling has inspired me in a lot of ways and upgraded me to a different level in a lot of ways that cannot be even described in full-fledged words. So the whole idea of starting this learning while traveling was we wanted to upgrade India to that global standard. So the whole idea is to get India from a developing nation to a developed nation and raising all youth especially to a global standard, because what I see generally is that, including myself when I was in college, that we are not actually at a very universal global standard. We have like our own national standards, and most of us are quite happy with that standard, and we don't aspire to upgrade. So the whole idea was to show everybody these foreign cultures and foreign, the startup culture, business culture, and things like that. And this way we could upgrade India to a different level. And it's just the youth which needs the upgradation. And that was the initial motivation. So that's how things started.
Absolutely, sir.
Uh, yes, sir. Thank you for that, sir. This is Jonathan, and I would like to ask you a little bit more about learning while traveling and like how does it really function?
Yeah.
Like, could you like explain to us a little bit more?
Yes, yes. So learning while traveling in short is LWT, and it's like an academy. So you can just call it LWT Academy, and it has a spectrum of programs for various age groups. So in one line, it is pretty much like nursery, kindergarten to startup. So that's how it is. So starting from the very child to startup, either in a job format or a founder format, whichever way the student gets groomed, they should be joining a startup either as a founder or as an employee. So this is what we are trying to inculcate through our programs. And during this COVID time especially, so initial plan was just to make people go on excursions on weekends and on summer holidays and things like that, and take them to various countries and give them exposure by different programs. But during COVID times, what we also realized that actually, if we just do it online as well, so that can cater to a bigger crowd. And not everybody might have the money to travel, but certainly they can afford a e-learning activity, and that's where we have currently running 3 programs in the COVID time, especially because travel is restricted. So we have a program for the kids 3 to 12 years, which happens for 1 hour Monday to Friday, and we are getting international teachers for them. So we have teachers from Indonesia, we have teachers from USA, we have teachers from UK, and then we also called guest teachers from different countries. So this gives these students a sense of multicultural environment right from the childhood, and this is how they learn inclusiveness. And by inclusiveness, what I mean is, usually you will see most people form groups when they go to college, right? And the reason why they form groups is because just before college they are confined to a radius of 20-30 kilometer, or max to max their city, in their city or a small town maybe. So they are not really used to mixing with people who are not their kind and who are not from their city and things. So once they go to college, maybe their radius expands a bit, but still it's confined to their own region or their own comfort zone and things like that. So maybe you're doing classes with a lot of multicultural people, like in your college also, but I think at B school it's a different level. But at UG level this happens more. All of a sudden there is so much of exposure, and so children are, they are not able to adapt to that exploding multicultural environment, and they find, it's very similar to the frog of the well. So their well is very small, and in the college the well becomes a bit bigger, but the well has to be as good as a national well, but it still has a regional touch and things like that. And so actually, to curb all these problems, we have this program that, okay, if the children are learning right from the childhood this inclusiveness, when they have teachers from all over the world and students from all over India and even outside India, let's say NRI students, right, for the kids, because it's all online, so it doesn't matter. The world is divided into just two parts: online, like the brown color, let's say the land, and offline, maybe the ocean, the blue color, right? So this is how the world is. So we can pretty much unite the whole world. The radius of expansion is 6,000 kilometer, which is the radius of the earth, right? So this is the whole idea, to unite the whole earth into a single platform, which is LWT Academy for the kids. Same we are doing for teenagers also. And teenagers also have a lot of communication issue and things like that. So we got a job interview preparation and mock MNC interviews for them, which is the second program that we are running, and it runs at 8 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday. And some of you might have seen as a status also, our status, I mean WhatsApp status, I mean. So the idea is to again get the MNC job mock interviews every day, with a instructor which is not from India, which is from outside UK. We have a teacher, and then going through these interviews at a very young age, especially teenager level. By the time you are at the stage when you have to give interviews, you are already very proficient in that communication. You have the confidence to talk and things like that. And and it's also preparing everybody for an online interview where the eye contact is a tricky game, where should you look, kind of. So, and the other challenges also, so something like that. And then when other program we have for startups, which we used to do for as an excursion, and but now again we are doing it as a 10 p.m. discussion, and I think Karan is part of that group only. And so every day we are doing, and we have been doing for almost 5 months now without fail. So every day we sit for 1.5 hour and we discuss on various topics. So yeah. And
Yes,
travel will start. We'll resume the travel once the COVID things. So next year we'll resume the travel, hopefully.
yes, sir. Hopefully, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
So I have a small question related to
Yes.
this. So like, how do we cater to the body language for an online platform? So I mean, that is
Mhm.
one thing which is very much difficult nowadays. So because even we face a lot of problems. So how, like, what
Correct.
are your views on that, sir?
Yeah. So I think that there can be a lot of ways to do that, but I think few things are just like having the light on your face, and then when you look up, and it's upper body mainly. It's not the full body language also, and things like that. And one activity that we are doing to actually groom this is, there is a feature called breakout rooms in Zoom, in which you can just split the whole group into pretty much 2 3 people kind of thing. So let's say when you have 50 people in a class, it's very hard to make them talk to each other, right? And especially for, let's say, your college, also the incoming batch, their first class is, the very first class they would have been doing is online class. So the problem with the online class is it's a, it's a one-way communication or two-way communication, but it's faculty to the student. Student to student are not really having any communication, right? So then just, send them to all these breakout rooms and, give them some kind of GD topic, group discussion topic, and ask them to talk to each other. They get comfortable with each other and things like that. And then also there's one more thing we do is we record all these things and make them, put them on YouTube and make them go through these recordings. So these recordings can also help you make your body posture more appropriate. And I think in the online world, it becomes pretty much like a bit of a glamour kind of thing. So if you on the camera, a small box is representing you, that box has to be glamorous enough to attract that employer, let's say. And whatever, I mean, your box need to be the attention grabber. You don't have anything else there, and the content that you speak, right? These are the two things. It's a trade-off. But in an offline world, it's a different story. I mean, there are a lot more, like the way you carry and things like that, how your legs are also moving. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. It was really very necessary nowadays how to be in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So this is Madhuri. My next question will be, throughout your journey, what are the hurdles or challenges you faced from the start? Like it would be very difficult from the
Correct.
whole startup thing. So what were
Yeah.
those?
So the very first okay, the very first problem that people have in the startup world is initial brand building. Because when we started, we said that okay, we'll take you to a foreign country and we'll give you this scholarship and these things. A lot of people don't trust you, that okay, who is this guy, might be a scam and this that. So to overcome that, what we did is we actually tried to sort of collaborate with the top schools. So the very first college that we collaborated was IM Bangalore, because somehow we thought that ऊपर वाले को गिरा दो तो सारे नीचे वाले गिर जाएंगे. So the first college was IM Bangalore that we had, and then we had some local competition. Then we tied up with Xavier's, we tied up with IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras, and things like that. So this is how we started, and this is how we overcame that hurdle also. That okay, how do you really create a brand? So the easiest thing is to actually cling to a brand, and all these big brands, colleges especially, they do a lot of fest, right? I mean, they have, and they look for sponsors. So just be their sponsor, and the good way to sponsor is just sponsor their winners. So we sponsored their winners, that okay, all the winners of your startup competition will come to our program at a scholarship price, and others can also come if they wish, and something like that. So this we repeated, and then we repeated, IIM Bangalore, then we did Xavier's, we did Bhawanipur College in Kolkata, then we also did IITs, then we did IIMs, and so right now we have almost more than 100 colleges that are tied up with us. So it was just showing that IIM Bangalore we could we could tie up with other colleges easily and things like that. So that's a very big hurdle a lot of startups would face: initial brand building, initial trust in the market, that okay, why should somebody even give you 100 rupees and trust that you will be giving them a service or a product after let's say after a day, or even after few hours for that matter.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. So the
Yes.
next question which I would like to ask is that, given the present situation, so what are the problems you're facing currently, and how are you tackling with the same?
Yeah, so presently, because we were initially just in offline excursion mode, that we'll just travel, and while traveling only we'll learn. That's why the name learning while traveling. But now we played a bit smart game. So what we said is learning while traveling is LWT. So just represent LWT as learning without traveling as of now. So make that W instead of while, make it without. So now it's learning without traveling for the COVID time, especially. It's a COVID special thing. And the way we tackle this is we actually introduced more product lines which were very similar to previous product line, but we took it to an online platform, e-learning kind of. So it became more of a e-learning and traveling kind of. Instead of learning and traveling, going together, we separated the terms and we said, okay, learning will be online and traveling will be when traveling resumes. And that's where, I told about all these three programs that we are doing: one for kids, one for teenagers, 15 to 25-year age, and one for the startups who are like budding startups mainly. So there are some overlaps because a lot of these teenagers are also doing startups, and we just so this is what we are doing. And one more thing is consistency is the key. You cannot be sleeping every now and then, that okay, aaj karenge kal fir so jayenge. So that doesn't work that much. You have to be present in the crowd, like every day pretty much, something like that.
Did it lead to some additional, benefit or the characteristics which you made it through?
Yes, so like I was saying in the beginning that because when we used to travel, right? So let's say taking people to Singapore, the cost is like 40 to 50,000 rupees. Not everybody can afford that much, and not every parent want to allow their child to also, go to foreign land just like that. So, but with our online programs, all these programs can be done from the comfort of your home. And so we brought the foreign to India, you can say, in an online format. Through that internet cable, we brought the foreign teachers and faculty members to India, so that the people who cannot travel at least can have that availability of knowledge. And since it's a e-learning platform, so like I said, it should not be a business continuity plan that you have the same faculty. Even like in your college, I'll say, to add value to your education, they should invite some foreign faculties now, because now it's online, right? So why they need the same faculty? I mean, same faculty, I'm not saying they should be thrown out. What I'm just saying that, you could have some guest lecture every week or every month, depending on the budget of the college, for you guys. So that will actually, add value to the online education. Otherwise, it becomes a business continuity plan. It has actually degraded the quality, because the online education can never catch up with that offline education mode, unless you are bringing something which can be exclusively to online mediums, which is what we did. We got this international teachers.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering the question, sir. The next question I would like to ask is that, like, was the LWT a first mover advantage that you feel, or did you like was like Byju's, or like nowadays we see Byju's and Academy coming up. So, do you think them as a competition, or you think that we're still in the first mover advantage phase, sir?
Yeah, so Byju's or Unacademy and these things are just e-learning, and most of them are recorded classes, right? Ours is not recorded session, so it's all live sessions, just like we are talking with you. So the teachers come live, the students are live, and then it is recorded. Just like you are recording me as a follow up. That okay, now that we have spoken to each other, and just kind of recap that okay, what was talked. Let's just go through the recorded session again. So it's all live interactions in the e-learning part. First thing. I think Byju's is starting that, but they are doing it for very specific classes. They are not doing it for all classes. So I don't see them as a competitor as such, because India is a huge market, and there is a lot of, everybody can pretty much eat and sleep that way. Everybody can get their own share of people, and then our pricing and things are also very different from them, and we are not targeting the same kind of thing also. And like I told about preschool, right? I mean that kids thing. So Byju's is more from standard 1, whereas ours is LKG UKG also. So it's like that. And then we have offline excursions also, right? So all these e-learning platform can become our partners, at least for that offline excursion part. And let's say for the international teachers, and again, international teacher is our USP. So that becomes a kind of a first mover advantage for us, because in India, like a lot of people aspire to get taught by foreign faculties. So I brought that international flavor to India. Yeah. Any next question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. So, like, based on your experiences and given the current situation, what do you think like we as like MBA students can learn from you so that we can be like job creators rather than job seekers?
Yeah, sure. Actually, for MBA people, the main problem is this education loan that most MBA people get, especially from the premier institutes. So what happens, it's like the pretty much like a check review, and this education loan is like the wheel trap, and getting out of this wheel trap becomes very extremely difficult at the initial stages, and most people die like Abhimanyu in this. But if you really wish to pursue this, what I suggest to all everyone actually, that pursue a part-time startup, and don't just aspire to be founder. Join as co-founder also, or a CXO also, advisor also, intern also, because it's not like that if you have to do startup you have to be the founder only, that it's like I have to only have my produce my own kids kind of. You can pretty much become that babysitter also of the kid, who can be your interest, and that's how you learn also a lot of things. And slowly, once you get rid of this education loan and things, and whoever has that, they can pretty much switch to this as a full time also. So what I suggest is, I think B school people usually can save 5-10,000 rupees or something like that, and just try to find a startup or something that they can work for as part time, or even as an internship. So, and while internship also, I think a lot of B school people look for brand, which is not bad though. But if you're pursuing a startup journey, you can look at a startup brand actually. Then you will know that what are the hurdles in a startup world and things, because a corporate structure and a startup structure is not the same. There is a lot of difference, because startup is growing stage, whereas corporate is more of a saturated stage. I mean, big companies, which used to be a startup once upon a time though. But pretty much find a internship in a growing startup, and preferably find a job also in a growing startup if you are aspiring to be an entrepreneur. Because I have seen a lot of people who are not thinking about startups, but once they worked for, let's say, like Paytm and all few years ago, they actually became this founders later. I mean, they started their own venture. So that's my advice: part-time startup, or part-time help to a startup. And second is, don't try to be founder always. Just join as co-founder or advisor or something. Just join. Just try to get your hands dirty in the startup world.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, on similar lines, like what would be those entrepreneurial traits that we as freshers and experienced people can must have or should imbibe, so that the entrepreneurial journey, I wouldn't say that it's going to be smooth with these traits, but yes, it does help a lot. So, what are these certain traits that one must possess?
Yeah, so there is a lot of risk involved in this entrepreneurship, right? So think like this, it's like a regular paycheck versus a irregular paycheck. And regular paycheck is very addictive. So let's say once you guys graduate, or maybe some of you would have worked also for some companies, let's say, what you would be getting is a regular paycheck. Every month there is certain amount of money getting credited. That's a very, pretty much like a drugs kind of addiction. uh, Getting addicted to that money is a very trouble thing. Once you get addicted to that money, then you if somebody asks you to sort of leave your job and start this entrepreneurship journey and this that, it will be very very hard. So that's one thing I recommend, that don't get too much addicted to, don't increase your spending habit to an extent that you cannot survive in a very frugal way. So that's one thing I'll say. Second thing is, entrepreneurship is very high risk high reward game. And somehow we all tend towards a lazy life, that one day we'll have bungalow, car, this that, and a mother. Okay. so so that is also sometimes problematic, because then you are aspiring to have material things in your life, and you will actually start accumulating those also from the time. And if you cannot pay for them right away, what you will do is you will get into this EMI trap. So don't get into EMI trap. Don't get into very much high spending habit, rather than rather than I'll say rather than that, maybe invest a chunk of your salary also to your friend startup or somebody. Just find something, where you can try something, or instead of buying shares and stock bonds and this that, you might be helping some friends as a partner, let's say. So something like that. So yeah, those things are the thing. Two main things basically. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So, sir, like going forward, so this COVID is not stopping, and it still poses a threat to a lot of startups. So, like, so going forward, what is your plan of action, or what
Yeah.
would you recommend the startups? Because, sir, like we saw in the 2008-2009 crisis, a lot of startups came. So, are we looking at a similar pattern? Are there a lot of startups that are going to come out of this phase?
Yes. So what will happen is, see, India is a developing country, right? Developing country means lot of problems. Lot of problem means lot of solutions. Lot of solutions mean lot of startups. Now what has happened is the problems have increased two times, three times, whatever, which means the opportunities for startups have also increased to two times, three times, right? So that way, actually, whenever there are a lot of problems, there will be a lot of startups coming up. So you can, very simple equation. So yes, again, this time I think I see more of that, and a lot of people will also become more flexible, not a very stuck up kind of that, I will do this only and nothing else kind of. So this time people will also realize that actually they have to be a bit flexible. It's not that they have to stick to their own original idea always. They can pivot and change things also according to the needs of the present scenario, right? Like a lot of people you see have started selling mask and sanitizer, and probably made a lot of money also, even with 5-10 rupees margin. Selling lakhs of that is like 10 lakh profit, right? So like that.
Uh,
Right. So, yeah.
so I have a question, sir. So,
Yes.
like, whenever we talk about, problems,
You are stuck a bit. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. Can you?
Uh, yes, it seems
Yeah,
she's
okay.
having
Now
some bit
is
of
back.
net
Yeah.
issues.
Now is back. Namrata,
Yeah.
yes, Namrata.
yes, sir. So like I was saying, sir, like how do we, so all the solutions cater to, tier two or tier three cities where network is like where internet connectivity is properly established, sir. But
Hmm.
what about the tier four and tier five cities? So, I mean, how do we bring them into the picture? So because these are the people who we tend to, neglect always, and it's not been now from years. So what
Yeah.
is your view on that, sir? Like, how
Yeah.
can we help them, sir?
Now I think, yeah, I think tier four is always a tricky thing, but now I think there will be a reverse migration happening, because a lot of people are going to work from home. So work from home and learn from home, learn and earn from home is going to be like a new normal for a lot of people. So even for your studies, right? I think some of you, let's say your college is in Bangalore, but you are not in Bangalore right now, and you are still able to do classes, right? So wherever there is internet penetration, you can always do classes. And I'll give you some extreme examples. There are a lot of students who cannot study because of family pressure, I mean family issues. Let's say somebody is ill at home, so they cannot be just going for 1 or 2 years in a city and study. Some people, let's say their father is ill, or they have to also pretty much give some time to their businesses, right? Which makes it very difficult for them to leave the business completely and go for, let's say, MBA or even a UG program. Same thing can happen to a girl child, especially like females. Lot of females parents are very, I mean, not, it's not that they don't have the money, but they are very scared of sending their female daughters to outside cities and small towns, I mean from a town to a city, let's say, or city to abroad also, because of safety issues and things like that. And uh, so all those people can actually get a lot of benefit from this e-learning things. So what I also think is, all these colleges, whatever they have started as online classes, they should not stop this actually, and probably they should have this as a parallel course, for these the people who cannot really come. So that will be the thing. Regarding that tier 4, tier 5 cities, let's say the villages and all, I think right now the internet is really, I mean, it's a bit of old news that they cannot have internet, because I think geo fiber, whatever connections are reaching those places also. And even if that is not reaching to that places, there is always a nearby village where it will work, right? So now they don't really need to go to that, let's say metros or big cities to access that knowledge. At least they can go to a nearest location where internet is working, and maybe some kind of virtual classroom can be set up. So it's like a, it's like an offline classroom, but the teacher is still present as a virtual projector, let's say, using a projector and things like that. And then students can still sit, and teacher can be projected on the wall or something, and these things can be done. So what I think now is, now the population will get more uniform across various locations also. So a lot of people are going to go back to their villages and continue their studies or whatever, continue their let's say online business. Like in my case also, I'm right now in Kolkata, but it doesn't prevent me from going to my hometown Jamshedpur and do the same thing. It's the same for me, right? So then it can become, from Jamshedpur to a small city and things like that. And so that, the again, I mean, that migration was previous pre-COVID. The migration was village to city, village to town, town to city, city to abroad, right? Now it will be, more or less, it will be more or less like, I don't know, like 100 years ago, where people didn't move much from their houses, like let's say your grandparents and all, they didn't move much, right? So our generation is moving too much. So I think the COVID is balancing, like average, no movement, a lot of movement, average them, please. Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much for your time. And there are definitely a lot of learnings from this talk. And yes, the educational industry is about to face a major disruption thanks to COVID and the internet. And yes, going forward, I do feel that tier one cities, tier two cities are reaching a threshold, after which the tier three, tier four, they'll soon be the major focus for these startups, and they'll definitely be a big revenue streams for them. So thank you for your time, and it means a lot to us. Any last words that you have for us? Anything that you want to say?
Yeah, all good. I think it's good. It's good that your college is taking these initiatives to, talk to entrepreneurs and all, because a lot of times this knowledge, gets confined to, I mean, doesn't spread out that much. And thanks to COVID also, we are all connected via e-learning, this Google Meet, and we can still talk to each other and at least share the knowledge. So the knowledge is still traveling by the wire, and the wire doesn't need any visa, any travel ticket, etc. So this e-learning should never stop actually. And I predict pretty much it will take over 50% of that learning, at least minimal, if not 100%. So yeah, thank you very much for your questions, and I was happy to answer them.
So
And
can I ask
yes, please, if you have any other question, or if you want to ask any
so
off
one
record question also, you can ask.
so like it's just a small question,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Like nowadays we see, there are entrepreneurs, there are villagepreneurs. So what do you call yourself? Like, what do you call yourself as, like I am this type of an entrepreneur. So
Yeah,
is there
so
anything
in
like
my case, I will be more of a entrepreneur only, because I was not doing it part time. I was not doing it within a company. So usually people who do it within a company becomes intrapreneur. Within a company, you are doing something like, let's say, example, Sundar Pichai is kind of an intrapreneur. Then let's say when you guys are doing the job and all, you can also be entrepreneur. There is an entrepreneur in residence job also, a lot of companies are giving, so that's also kind of entrepreneur only. In my case, it was pretty much a series circuit. So I was doing job, and then I went to this entrepreneurship right away. So, and I will call it I'll call myself more of a global entrepreneur, which can be a new term, you can say, raising India to global standards. India and Indians to global standard. That was our slogan for the National Day also. I mean, the Independence Day. Raising India and Indians to global standard. So something we came up recently. Yeah. Any other question?
Thank you for
Feel
that.
free, please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. That will be
Okay,
all.
sir.
Okay.
That
Thank
will
you
be
very
it.
much. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time, sir.
He left.